Lovely. Now, the World Health Organization called Wednesday for a global halt to third doses of COVID-19 vaccines for the rest of the year. The WHO said wealthy nations should instead make limited vaccine supplies available to poorer countries. This comes as, in the US, the Biden administration has repeatedly rejected the WHO's call to halt booster shots until medical workers and other at-risk groups can be vaccinated in poorer countries. And here in the UK, our government believes there is a strong case for offering COVID jabs to healthy 12 to 15-year-olds, which the African director at the WHO, Dr. Moti, says makes a mockery of vaccine equity, especially when the African continent is still struggling to get vaccine supplies, with only 2% of the continent's 1.3 billion people fully vaccinated against COVID-19 so far. Joining me now to discuss vaccination of 12 to 15-year-olds and whether wealthy nations like the UK should administer coronavirus booster shots at the expense of giving doses to poorer countries is our resident doctor, psychiatrist, Dr. Shezi. And it has been a while, darling. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you so much, Trevor. It's absolutely amazing to see you, and you look absolutely amazing, and you look like you've had a great, great holiday. Lovely to be on the show, and I've really missed being on the show, and keen to talk about this very important topic. That's obviously affecting millions globally and here in the UK. And personally, I've got a 12, 13, and 14-year-old. So it's going to affect, the 12 to 15 bracket of vaccinating children is obviously going to affect them as well, and the choices that we make. So it's all about choices, and making those choices, we need the right information, we need to be informed, we need to know about the side effects, the effects of the vaccines, and obviously what's the most up-to-date information in terms of the guidance and approval.
Absolutely.
Status.
So we were waiting this week for the approval from I believe it was the medical advisors, and I think you've got more information on this in terms of whether we will be able to, that's 12 to 15-year-olds, will be able to receive the coronavirus vaccination. Where are we with that? Because last week it was all kind of in the air. Then they'll say we're gonna get a massive announcement this week. Where are we?
Yeah, so I think it's really I think there has been decisions made, but I think there's a lot of decisions for other people and families to make those decisions. But in terms of the MHRA, they had approved in June. They approved June 2021. The MHRA approved the Pfizer and the BioNTech vaccine, and they said that the evidence showed that giving this to children in the 12 to 15 age group, that they could be given the vaccine and there were no side effects to them, and it was effective. And then we've also heard about recently, so the JCVI this week, and I think it's today, they've actually said that they've now approved giving the vaccine to 12 to 15-year-olds. So it seems like it is going ahead, that 12 to 15-year-olds will be given the vaccine. They will be offered it. Initially, they were offering it, I think from June, they were offering it to obviously the bracket of people that were immunocompromised or people with underlying physical health conditions, and children obviously that were more vulnerable to develop COVID-19. But I think
those with learning difficulties or in households with high risk, etc.
Yes, and I think what I want to say is in terms of the giving the vaccine to young children, if we look at globally and what World Health Organization is talking about, is that the drive is because obviously adults have been vaccinated and they've seen the evidence that it has helped. I mean, I've been vaccinated, lots of people we know have been vaccinated, and it has helped, and it's opened doors. And we've got also now some places are making it compulsory to work. You have to have an immunization passport to travel. So there's so many different things, which obviously is related to the vaccination, and not just getting vaccinated to protect yourself from getting the virus, but also to reduce mortality, reduce the risk on the NHS, and also to open these doors, which obviously affect all of us. And it's going to affect us more and more as we're hearing. So the drive to get children vaccinated is obviously related to all these factors, and also because we know that children were super spreaders. So with schools
Mhm.
opening this week and also with universities opening and the younger generation obviously mixing and being in large crowded spaces for long periods of time, there's obviously a concern that they are unvaccinated. They might be using the measures of hand sanitizing, wearing masks, and social distancing. But we know, and I've heard in the last few weeks during the holidays, lots of friends and families and people we knew in the UK during in the 12 to 16-year-old that were getting infected with COVID-19
Yeah,
and that were
yeah,
symptomatic. So it's a very difficult decision to make in terms of why obviously children need to get vaccinated, and as a parent and as a child I just want to raise, so it's happening globally. It's not just happening in the UK, and also because of the increase in the Delta variant, the Indian variant. So
yeah. And we've seen with President Biden's speech, I think it
yes,
was on
yeah,
Thursday to the US, really telling the US population, to play their part,
yeah,
because obviously, 25% of the population is not vaccinated and in many ways refusing to vaccinate. And the argument around giving vaccinations to children, they say, is a non-starter because children are healthy. But then you see cases you just spoke about,
yes.
friends knowing of people who have had their children go into hospital. I've known someone whose child has gone in with ammonia
Oh,
in
yeah,
relation to, they believe, the coronavirus.
mm,
But yet these cases, even though they're out there in the media, you've still got parents saying no,
yeah,
refusing to acknowledge the evidence or what's literally in front of their eyes. So how do you convince people? Because it's not just America where we have
yeah, yes.
our people who are very skeptical about the vaccine. It's here as well in the UK.
Yes, it's all over. And yes, I mean, I'm glad you raised obviously you also up to date with what's going on. And there are real cases of children getting the virus. So we cannot ignore that. And also, as you've said, with Biden today, even in Kentucky, in the US, Biden deployed the army again. Because the cases are rising and because they're getting more and more children in hospitals because of the Delta variant. I just want to quickly talk about other countries because I know you've mentioned that as well. So, in terms of globally, we've had Cuba started last week giving the vaccines to 2-year-olds, to
Oh
toddlers.
my God.
So they've started, and that was because of because of the Delta variant. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, 2-year-olds.
Yes.
I am completely shocked.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was preparing for our interview and then just looking at global what's happening. 2 years old, 2-year old. I was also just as shocked as you.
Sorry.
I know. Yeah.
Wow.
I
And
was
the
shocked.
evidence
I'm
for
also
that is
still
coming from
taking it.
medical experts and
Yeah.
all the testing to say it's okay to do that
Yeah.
on someone so young, on toddler,
Exactly.
essentially.
So 2 years old are getting the vaccine. So they're getting the Abdala and the Soberano. So this is a different vaccine that
Okay.
is available in Cuba, and which obviously is tried and tested. But they've started to vaccinate 2-year-old, and that was since last week. And then coming to China and Chile, they've also approved the vaccines in children. We've spoken about USA. There are other countries that are also following, so it's going to happen in a lot of countries globally. South Africa as well, where I'm from, Sinovac, they've starting to trial the vaccine in 12 to 15 years old. So it's going to happen globally. And then coming to your burning question, how do you make that decision? I mean, what is your
Yes.
what do you think? I mean,
I'm still in shock. Sorry. So
I know, I'm still in shock as well.
it's a hard one, isn't it? Because we vaccinate against smallpox, measles, etc.
Yeah.
And even then there's a burning issues around that still today in terms of how
Yeah.
some young people were affected. The argument around
Yeah.
those who they feel have brought on severe learning difficulties or stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, we're all guinea pigs essentially anyway for coronavirus, whatever one you take, be it AstraZeneca or whatever. But I don't know. Look at me. I'm shocked. I didn't know this. So
I know.
Oh my God.
But the way, to be honest, so the way so all I've given you earlier is information as to why children should be vaccinated. But the way I look at it, we've had the immunization schedule. It's not something that's just happening today. It's been for years, thousands of years. We've had vaccines. We've been vaccinated for BCG, for TB at birth. I've had it at birth in South Africa, and then we get the measles, mumps, rubella, DPT. So vaccinations have been around.
Yeah, I know that. But those vaccinations, and I know we've had advances because we've talked about this, advances in technology, etc. But those vaccinations were tested over a period of decades, not even years, decades before approval. And I know you've talked about the advances in technology. I don't mind as a 40-something to take that risk and be that guinea pig, which I think in many ways we all are. But a toddler, a 2-year-old, that doesn't sit with me.
I know. I was just as shocked. I'm still just as shocked. But I think the way around this and making a decision, so we're all going to have to make these important decisions, whether we're a single parent or whether we're a child, we're going to have to, or family, we are going, as parents, we're going to have to make that decision. So I think in terms of my medical knowledge, medical head, psychiatric background, there is evidence saying that we do need children to get vaccinated, and especially because they are getting the virus, they are symptomatic or asymptomatic, and they are at risk of passing it on and being the super spreaders.
Okay.
And in order to move forward,
I hear all that. So but let me turn this back on you because you've got children.
Yes, I'm going to do my parent head on.
If you had a 2-year-old, would you be willing to say yes? You can administer that to my child, a vaccine?
At this moment,
even though we haven't tried and tested it really?
At this moment in time, no. But I've got a 12, 13, and 14-year-old, and I am considering discussing this with them and asking them. I have had few discussions. We've had few discussions. They're very up to date.
And what do they say? What do they say?
So I think the one said, yes, Mum, if we have to take the vaccine, we'll take it. And one of the others said no. So I think it's
why the no? I'm more interested in the no. Why the no?
It's because obviously no, because they don't feel they need to have the vaccine, or maybe they're not sure whether the vaccine is right for them to have it. And also being so young, like we are older. So, our immunity obviously is developed, and we're obviously more mature. And physically a bit different, more different. So I think in terms of just being young and not being sure about the vaccine, it's still early days, and then for them just to get the vaccine.
Wait, 1 minute. We're going to have to get some feedback. So I'm asking people right now listening to get on socials at Maritime LDN and or contact Dr. Chesley at Dr. Chesley as well. And let us know if you're a parent, carer, or guardian. 2 questions now, actually, because of what Dr. Chesley has revealed to me. Firstly, would you allow your 12 to 13-year-old child to take the vaccine? But secondly, with this new information coming out, shared by Dr. Chesley about what they're doing in Cuba, it is Cuba, is that correct? Yeah. Would you allow the vaccine to be administered to your toddler, a 2-year-old, 2 or 3-year-old? Really interested to find out. We might have to bring this up on next week's show. And if you want to contribute to that show as well, send me your details. You can also email hello at maritimeradio.co.uk. That's hello at maritimeradio.co. You have now blown my mind, okay? Because
I'm glad I did the research, because you did say you wanted to talk about this, and this is the up-to-date research. They've started last week giving 2-year-olds vaccines in Cuba.
Wow. Okay.
And so because of the rise in the Delta variant. So
absolutely, and I get we are we're literally coming towards something I think quite explosive, with people coming back from holidays, kids going back to schools, everything opening up. We don't know what Christmas is going to look like, and they're thinking about extending in terms of a fire break in terms of October half term, extending that to ease cases. But wow,
I know.
Literally, my whole body is down here on this one.
Can I re-answer your question? So as of today, now,
Yeah.
10th September 2021, if I had a 2-year-old, I'd not vaccinate them right now. But I have a 12, 13, and 14-year-old, and I'm considering speaking to them and telling them that I think you need to get vaccinated. And obviously, with my husband's consent, we'll make a decision together as a family, and we'll do what's best for the kids. But I would make that decision knowing that I know that what they're saying is the Pfizer BioNTech are relatively safe. AstraZeneca is saying, not sure, but they're saying AstraZeneca as well. So knowing that and knowing that we've been vaccinated and we are well, I might consider them having the vaccine. Maybe come 6 months or a year down the line, if I did have a 2-year-old, I might consider it. I'm still not 100% on that. So I know whatever we've discussed, just a disclaimer that I'm just giving advice and
Absolutely.
sharing and you giving advice and sharing what's out in the media. But each person would need to make that decision. And I think I think what the Telegraph said today was we must listen to the children and their parents when it comes to the vaccine. And why I'm saying that is there's a lot of controversy. It's not as easy as I'm projecting it. There's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of people that feel that children don't, like you said, children don't need to be vaccinated. There's no reason why children need to be vaccinated. So, and obviously there are a group of people that feel that children need to be vaccinated. Just thinking about schools and about children and about the impact on the teachers, it must be very difficult. I mean, teachers play such a huge and important role. And, for them to put their lives on risk all the time, we're truly grateful for all the teachers. So it is a difficult situation. It's a difficult decision to make, but we all have a choice. Children will have their choice as well. And they'll be quite sensible. There was a 14-year-old, I just read, a 14-year-old in a foreign country, I think in Germany, and he's had the vaccine, and he's saying that he feels he's having the vaccine because he thinks it's actually going to save other people, him getting the vaccine.
No, that's good.
So
We're running out of time. I just want to quickly bring us back to essential question. We don't have enough time to really go in depth, so I'm really just picking your brain's initial response. So if we talk about vaccinations for kids, and I'm talking about wealthy countries now using doses, third dose for adults, potential vaccination for kids, but not sending as pledged doses to COVAX, which initiates and distributes part of the WHO to poorer countries, leaving poorer countries lagging behind in terms of being inoculated. Where do you stand on that? So isn't it about, okay, the kids are young enough, we can deal with that. Let's first try and get the whole of the world, adult population, vaccinated first?
Exactly, 100% on you with that. I 100% agree. The rest of the world, Prince Harry spoke about this at the recent events a week ago, where Dame Sarah Gilbert, the founder of the AstraZeneca, got her award, and he spoke about how we all have a responsibility. The world has a responsibility to vaccinate the rest of the world. The more richer countries have to help vaccinate the poorer countries. And I'm 100% on board with what you've just said. Yes, I agree with Prince Harry, and we do have a duty that all the other countries need to be vaccinated. So there should be that drive first. And I'm glad that you brought it up because it's something I've also thought about. And definitely,
brilliant.
It has to
We're
be
out
done.
of time. We're out of time. But I think you're going to have to go back.
Definitely. Anytime, let's spread the love and not the virus. And let's just share the information and educate people.
Absolutely.
Like Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon you can use. And, just educating people about the vaccine is so important to make a decision.
Brilliant. Dr. Chesney, as always, thank you for joining us online today. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you, Trevor, for having me.
Recording stopped.
My God,
you.
that was good. That was good.